What's up, everybody? It's your girl, Absolutely April, here for a recap. I'm recapping Anne Rice's interview with the vampire. I don't know where I was going, but yeah, interview with a vampire. We're gonna review or recap, episode 4 and 5. I think I didn't do episode 4. Um, well, I know I didn't. I didn't do episode 4, so I want to recap a little bit of episode 4 and talk more detail about episode 5. So, yes, if you made it here and this is your first time clicking on this on my channel, I'm absolutely April. I do recaps on reality shows, TV shows, movies. I might throw into some spiritual tips. You just never know what you might get, but I'm going to give you all of me, and I would appreciate your support. And go ahead and subscribe to my channel. If you are a person who loves community, loves to talk, say your opinion respectfully, then yes, come on and join my tribe and subscribe. Also, while you're here, since you clicked here, get me in the algorithm and click the like button. And also hit that notification bell so you'll be notified about all of my uploads. And as I always say, sharing is caring. So go ahead and share this video as well. For those of you returning, yes, I appreciate y'all. Y'all are my A1s, and I appreciate the support and all of my new subscribers. I also appreciate you, and I thank you for investing in me and tuning into my channel. So let's get into the recap, y'all. Is interview. Why do I keep getting a brain fart? So Interview with the Vampire, episodes 4 and 5. If you love vampire movies or vampire stuff, and we just came off the heels of Halloween, yes, this is the show for you. I enjoy it. I like stuff like vampires and werewolves, like the underworld. I even was into Twilight at one point in time. So all of this is in my wheelhouse. I love it. And I enjoy, talking about, different things like this. So yes, it's Interview with a Vampire. If you were into Game of Thrones, then you know who Grey Worm is, who is also known as Jacob Anderson. He is the lead character. He plays Louis Dulac. I believe that's how you say it. But his name is Louis. He's one of the leading characters. He is a vampire that was turned by the guy behind him, who's also, his name is Lestat. He is also known as Sam Reed. And I've been enjoying this whole little, I've been enjoying it so far. And episode 4, I will probably, let's get into it before I start ranking it. But yeah, so episode 4 starts out, and like I said, I don't have a detailed recap. I'm just gonna kind of smooth over it a little bit. I got some clips for y'all. But yeah, episode 4 is when kind of gets into Claudia'S backstory. Claudia is the little girl who was dying in episode 3. Towards the end of episode 3 that Louis rescued, Lestat, Louis begged Lestat to change her so she didn't die. So he did change her, and she has an insatiable thirst. But like I said, in Twilight, they talked about, when you have small people who are younger and you turn them, they tend to be kind of unruly and have an insatiable thirst. So it might be that across the board. So here they are with Claudia. She's a cute little girl. I think she's around, I'm not really sure how old she is. I think they might have mentioned that she was around 16, between 16 and 18, I believe. So she's about that age, or maybe younger. But yeah, she's very young compared to Louis and Lestat. And she has been taken in as Louis's daughter, of course, because she's, she presents as Black. So, I mean, Lestat having a Black daughter, that would, in this day and age, that would be kind of suspect at this particular time. But she looks more along the lines of how Louis looks. So yeah, so he has taken her in as as his daughter, and Lestat is her uncle. So Lestat was not even he was not amused to bring in this little girl. He just, he did it basically for Louis. And Louis was so passionate about bringing her in and didn't want her to die. So he did it for her, for Louis, and not for her. He didn't want to be bothered with this little girl. So he ends up getting by, changing her, and she, like I said, she has an insatiable appetite. So this is her kind of after she's been changed. She looks like a little girl, and she's just, she's trying to get acclimated to the whole thing. So I believe Lestat takes her out hunting so she can learn how to hunt, and she enjoys it. She takes more after Lestat in that. Louis wanted her to be more of like him, where he calls himself a vegetarian. He doesn't really kill people anymore. He just, feasts off like rodents, cats, dogs, things like that. He doesn't really go into killing people. It just goes against his philosophy. So right here, she's kind of, I would say she's kind of missing. Like she knows something is missing. She realizes now that she's technically dead, and she's never going to get older. She's never, she's just going to be stuck and frozen. And she wants to experience love. She's still considered a young girl. So she's going through wanting to have love, to kiss boys. She wants to have the dating type, feel. She wants that. And now, she's not really sure, how she's going to do it. And that makes perfect sense. Like, she's going to be stuck in this little girl body for the rest of her life. So now she has to deal with it and, figure out how, she's going to experience the things she wants to experience in life. So this is her killing. She's about to kill somebody. So like I said, she takes more after Lestat. So she kills this man, and they teach her how to, do it properly and dispose of the body. This is probably a big issue with Claudia. She just, because she's so young, she just doesn't really listen well. So she, she wants it, she's thirsty, so she wants the blood, but she doesn't really listen to what Louis and Lestat try to, guide her. She's being a child, unfortunately. So, I think it was around her birthday, they gifted her with some, some jewelry. And although she has, they give her nice things, she's basically like his daughter. They're treating her like a little girl, but she realizes I'm like 18 and I don't want to look like a little girl anymore. I want to be, I want to walk around and look more like a woman. I want to, present myself differently. So this is when she kind of gets the epiphany, like, okay, I'm not a little girl anymore. I want to be, desirable. I want to, flirt. I want to do things like that. So this guy in the carriage catches her eye. She really likes him. He drives, people around in the carriage, and he passes by her house all the time. So she likes to take a sneak peek at him. She's giddy when she sees him. She just really, really, really likes this guy. I believe his name was Noah, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember, but yeah, he was, one of her little first loves, her first little crush. So she was very, very, very excited about it. They went out on a date. And of course, they start kissing, and she can't control her appetite, and she ends up killing him, unfortunately. So this is them on a date. She look at her. She's dressed a little bit older. She has on makeup. So she's really stepping into her, grown woman femininity type thing. So yeah, this is her on a date with him. But unfortunately, this is the end of the road for them because she can't control her appetite because she just does not listen to Louis and Lestat at all. Um, So that's basically it for that particular episode. I don't want to really, I mean, it wasn't really much, that I can say. It just really talks about her getting used to being a vampire and understanding that, she's now a killer and she has to learn how to deal with it. So yeah, that was Claudia and that. So now we are on episode 5. Episode 5. I believe this. I forgot what this episode was named. I think it's something like a vow something. I don't know. I'll figure it out. It'll be in the title of this. But yeah, it's definitely episode 5. And Claudia, she says she wants to discover the world. No, I'm sorry. It starts out with the author being skeptical of Louis, and he is the guy who's writing the book. He's skeptical of Louis, and he doesn't believe anything. He was like, why should I believe you? Certain things like just I can't verify. Like he can't verify the mortality rates and things like that in Louisiana. So how can I verify that this actually happened? You're not just telling me a story because he's going to be putting this book out there. So he's going to kind of I'm pretty sure when people start reading, they're going to start challenging him to find out, well, how is that, how is this accurate? Or, how is this really true? So things like that is going to cause an issue. He doesn't want that to cause an issue for himself. And so is crossing his mind. And as he goes through some of the books and some of Claudia's diaries, actually, he is looking at, and he sees some pages are ripped out. So he's like, this is why I can't trust what you're saying because you're hiding things from me. He wants to see the pages. Louis is not trying to hear that. Louis, he was like, no, I don't want her to be seen in that light. So no, you're not going to get those pages. So he gets angry with Louis. Louis gets angry at him and ends up flaring up this man's Parkinson's. When I say this man hands started shaking uncontrollably, it was crazy. Louis was getting mad. And so Louis ends up, when Louis's assistant Rashid comes in and kind of calms Louis down, and his hand eventually stops shaking. And then next thing you know, he gets up and slaps the piss out of Louis, which I'm sure did not hurt because Louis is a whole vampire. So, but that was very bold on his part to slap Louis because Louis could have outright killed him. But I'm pretty sure he said, "Well, you need me. You want me to write this story." So he felt, I guess, emboldened to go and kill Louis. I mean, and slap Louis, and and Louis is not going to say anything. But I'm pretty sure, I don't know. Louis might not forget, and he he may get him after the story is done. You never know. So Louis reads about the mysterious deaths on the college campus. Hold on, I keep jumping ahead. I'm sorry. So Louis is worried about Claudia, and he thinks that she's on a hunger strike. So he hasn't ever since her and Lestat, and they've been having her out trying to get her under control. She gets so upset because her boyfriend is now dead, and she doesn't know. She's just mad. She doesn't like her life at this point. So Louis at this whole time has been thinking Claudia has been in her little coffin and on a hunger strike. So he's been, bringing birds so she can feed off the birds, but she hadn't been eating them. So he's getting worried, thinking she's going to waste away. And then so here comes Lestat. He comes and flips the coffin, the coffin lid open, and she's not there. He was like, yeah, she been out there killing. She been sneaking out and killing. And he was like, she is getting over on you. So, Lestat is just annoyed with Claudia at this point. And he's just like, she's out there killing. She ain't on no hunger strike. Stop worrying about her. So Lestat sees her diary in her little coffin and reads it and finds out that she has been doing the killings but hasn't been burning the bodies like they told her that needs to happen. She just been out there killing and throwing them in the river. And so at that point, Lestat is like, what's going to happen if a storm comes in and washes those bodies ashore? Like, you got to think about stuff like that. You can't just, dispose of the bodies the way you want to. We're trying to tell you the right way to do it. She don't want to listen. So this is the scene right here. They are talking with this guy who's a politician. He's trying to get their financial support, and and I'm pretty sure there's murmurings going on about Lestat and Louis. However, they don't really know what's up with these two, but they kind of know. So the bodies have been exposed, just like Louis thought. A storm came through. I mean, it's New Orleans. It's always a storm. Hurricane season, there's always some type of storm. So yeah, the bodies have been discovered, and it was like a whole bunch of bodies with severed fingers, just all type of craziness going on. They thought at first that maybe these people drowned, but it ends up they started seeing, okay, well, one person's missing a finger, one person's missing a foot. It's just too eerie. So the politicians right here talking to them, telling them, about it as he's asking for for Louis and Lestat's financial support. But he's also saying, like, yeah, there's been some suspect some murders in the area that looks very suspect. And I'm guessing he is kind of like giving them like the heads up, like, yeah, the police is gonna be searching your house because, I guess they think it's them. And it is, but it isn't. It's Claudia. So, they are now getting upset. Well, I know Lestat is definitely upset because now Claudia has exposed them. And and so now they have to deal with the repercussions and try to lay low because now they know that the police are going to start searching. And I don't think that they can pay the police off at this point. So the guy is kind of giving them a heads up, but he's also asking for their financial support. And I guess he's like, since I didn't give you a heads up, you can go ahead and run me some money for doing that. So at this point, Louis and Lestat ends up rushing home because they're like, let's get home because we already know that there is trouble brewing in this area because of those bodies. So as they are on their way home, they find a deputy in their home. Claudia has let the deputy in their home. Let me see if I have a slide for that. So yeah, this is them on the way home, and they see the deputy, one deputy outside, and then one deputy in the home. Claudia done let look at her face. Claudia done let the deputy in. She drunk or something, and she done let the deputy in, and and Lestat has to take over and kind of show him around and show him the different, parts of the house, but keeping him away from the stuff he don't need to see. So he's trying to maneuver around, and while Claudia is around here drunk as a skunk, and they're like, you just let your daughter stay in here by herself with, alcohol around, and now she in here drunk. So now they look even more suspect as parents, that their young daughter is in here drunk. And honestly, she's old enough to drink at this point, but she's stuck at the age of 18 or whatever, how old she is. So yeah, she looks suspect at this point. And it's putting them in a bad light, and it's really exposing Louis and Lestat, and they've kind of been under the radar so far. So Claudia runs upstairs. She has a whole dying man in her room tied up. That she done tied up, and she got severed fingers. She got all type of severed body parts from those people that she killed in the room. So now the deputy has to do the search, and if he finds this, they're gonna be in a world of trouble. So she's in her room and she's scurrying around trying to hide stuff. So she was able to, get the deputy out of there by appearing, putting a blanket over her and saying, I'm naked, I'm trying to change. So he runs out, because he's scared, he doesn't want to offend the little girl, but he never comes back, fortunately, to go back and check that all them, the dead body, the dying man, all this stuff is in Claudia's room. So, yeah. So now at this point, they got the deputies out. Lestat and Louis are chastising her, and she's just fighting back. She doesn't really understand, but she's saying, basically, she's saying, like, I want to experience things. I want to be able to go and do things. Why did you change me? You could have taken me to the hospital. You didn't have to, do this to me. I can't experience the things I want to experience. I can't have the benefit of growing older. It's just, it's unfair. And so she's just, she's angry. She's acting out at this point. So she's throwing a tantrum just like kids do. And she just doesn't understand. So she says she wants someone to love, which, and y'all two have each other and I don't have anybody. And so Lestat looks at Claudia's arm. It looks like she's been out trying to make, vampires so that, she can have her little boyfriend. She's been out here doing the most and, right under their nose. And she's blocked her, because her and Louis can read each other's minds. She's blocked Louis from reading her mind. And so Louis doesn't even know what the heck is going on at this point. He just knows his daughter is just, throwing tantrums. She's unhappy, and there's really nothing he can do about it. So he feels the guilt of changing her at this point because he's like, I was just trying to save her. And Lestat was like, he could have took it or leave it. He didn't want her anyway. So she goes on to ask Lestat, just change someone for me. Change so I can have someone change them for me so I can have someone for myself to love. So Lestat ends up refusing her and tells her that, she, like I said before, she, keeps telling like y'all have each other love. And then she blasts Lestat and say, and you even got the lady in Algiers that you've been messing around with. So Louis didn't know nothing about this lady. So yeah, Lestat been out there laying it low and spreading it wide. He been out there in them streets with a woman. And so that right there threw Louis off. But at the same time, he knows how Lestat gets down. So Claudia, rushes to her room and Lestat admits to Louis that he has been messing with someone. And Louis was like, is it Antoinette? And so he said, yeah, and I'm going to end up killing her, in a little bit. So, my fun is going to be over with her very soon. So Claudia ends up running away. She said, I just can't take it no more. She ends up running away. That's Louis talking to Lestat about Antoinette. So she ends up running away and, and shuts off all of her thoughts against Louis. Louis goes into a depression because, that's like his daughter. So if your child ran away and you don't know where your child is, that, he's reacting the same way that, a father would react, of a daughter that he loves. She's out there by herself and she really doesn't know how to be a vampire. She just, knows a little bit. She don't know everything. So she's just upset and she just doesn't understand why Louis just didn't take her to a hospital. So Lestat at this point, he feels like, maybe we should move. But Louis wants to stay because, he wants Claudia to be able to come back home. He wants, Claudia to be able to find them, if she decides to come back. But Lestat just, let's get out of here. We have been exposed. I mean, the block is hot. So Louis is now wandering the streets. He's going to all the drug addicted places. He's just trying to throw out all these telepathic signals saying, Claudia, I'm sorry. I love you. Come back home. And he's trying to get her by any means necessary. So Claudia ends up right here. She's at a school. She's been going to different colleges. So she's in college and she's, been going reading and I guess searching for information for herself. And so, she was here being harassed by, you can't really see him, but harassed by a boy saying that she shouldn't be in the library and she shouldn't be reading because of course she's Black. So, she's trying to stay inconspicuous, but it's really hard to. And at this point, she's being annoyed by this guy. She wants to kill him. So, then she meets this guy right here who is Bruce. Bruce is a fellow vampire. So yeah, he has picked up on the signals from Louis, and now and has been, he finds Claudia and knows that she's a vampire. He shows his fame so she can know that, hey, I want to we see each other. So yeah, they end up killing old boy, the boy who was harassing her. They end up killing him and, making a meal out of him. So Lestat and Louis, are back at home. They still arguing about Claudia. Lestat is just so jealous of Claudia. He's so jealous that Louis is so depressed that Claudia is gone. He wants Louis all to himself. He thought with Claudia out the house, they can go back to their normal behavior. But Louis has fallen in love with Claudia. He loves Claudia like that's his very own daughter. And yeah, he's in a depression, and now Lestat is jealous because someone, he doesn't want anyone else but him to have Louis' affection. So Claudia is hanging with Bruce, this guy right here, and the new vampire who admits to her that, yeah, I heard somebody, trying to reach you telepathically, and has been saying all these things about how he misses you and stuff like that. So Bruce says he's been following her for quite some time. He's been following her different places. So he knows all about her. So we're back at the author. The author is talking to Louis at this point. And the author, like I said, he's talking about the torn out pages out of Claudia's book. And like I said, Louis doesn't want to talk about it. So Louis reads, is reading about the mysterious deaths on college campuses. And he has a feeling deep inside that is probably Claudia. Lestat doesn't care. Lestat does not care. He don't care, and he don't care either way about Claudia. So right here in this clip, the guy Bruce, that old vampire Bruce, he ends up, shoving Claudia and manhandling her because he knows she's pretty much a young vampire, and he knows that she doesn't really know much, and he's, saying that he wanted to find a pack to run with, but he's not a good guy at all. So Lestat doesn't care at this point, and like I said, he's jealous of Louis' obsession with finding Claudia. So we get to the point where Grace, Louis' sister, she calls Louis, and he asks him to meet her at the cemetery. And so she reveals to Louis that she's leaving for Boston, and she doesn't want any money. She don't want nothing to do with Louis at this point. So Grace is saying that, look, I just wanted to let you know you are no longer, you're just not my brother. You're not the brother that I grew up with. I've been looking at you for years, and you are not the same person. So to me, you're basically dead to me. So she reveals to him that she done put his name on a tombstone. And, from the time he was born to the time I guess he started acting different. So she basically, said, I know you're dead at this point. You're not my brother. This is not how my brother would act. So she was just like, this is what it is. She kisses him goodbye and leaves, with her husband. So at this point, this is right here in this clip, is showing that Claudia is looking on because she's been following them. She's been following Lestat and Louis because she still longs to be with them. She just had to go out and, discover some things. So she is looking on and seeing what happened with Louis, and seeing how broken up Louis is about, with Grace leaving, and, basically saying that he's dead to her. So that was his last family member, real family member that just, and he's not going to be able to see his sister anymore. So yeah, he's broken up, and she's looking on and seeing how upset that Louis is. And that's when she said, I realize who I am to Louis now. I'm going to be his sister. So Claudia comes back home, and she apologizes, about what happened. But Lestat says, I don't accept your apology. So this is what he's telling her right here. He's like, I don't accept your apology. And Claudia says she's going to discover the world. She's been reading books about these different places that have, vampires that she's been reading about, and she wants to go discover those places. So that's where she's off to. But she just wanted to come by and apologize for her part in the whole situation. And so Lestat tells her, the vampires in Europe are way more vicious. You don't want to be out there by yourself with them people. But Claudia just feels that Lestat really wants to keep information from her, and that he doesn't really want to teach her or tell her anything about what vampires can do. He just wants to kind of keep them under his control, especially Louis. So Claudia says, well, I'm taking Louis with me. Louis is gonna come with me, and that's when that set Lestat off, because Lestat is very territorial about Louis. That's his piece, and he don't care. Ain't nobody gonna keep him away from Louis. So Lestat becomes angry at Louis for even considering leaving him. So they get to tussling and fighting. I mean, tearing up this whole house, and so Lestat ends up choking Claudia, and so that set Louis off. So he tries to fight Lestat, but because Lestat is such an old vampire, he is way stronger than Louis. So yeah, Louis was no match for him. So he tore Lestat tore Louis up. I mean, beat him to a bloody pulp. He started to the point where he drug him outside in a pool of blood, and then they end up going. I mean, he catapults them into the sky. I mean, they up to the heavens, and he's telling Louis, if he's asking Louis, like, all right, will you ever love me the way I love you? Like, why am I not enough for you? And so Louis, is just like there's like up in the air. They're suspended in the air, and he's talking to Louis and saying, why don't you love me the way I love you? And so Louis didn't answer him. He was just like, let me go. And he was like, your wish is my command. I mean, he dropped Louis from the heavens all the way down to the ground. Louis' leg is like deformed. He bloody. He has been beaten to a bloody pulp, and it is. I can't believe. Well, I can, because Lestat is so jealous, and his anger with Louis has been brewing ever since Claudia's been going. Because he's like, forget Claudia. You got me. Why are you over here? Sulking about Claudia. She's gone, and I'm still here. So he's just upset with Louis about that, and he just had it all the way up to here. And the fact that Louis even contemplated leaving and going with Claudia, that sent him over the edge. And Lord, when I tell you, he beat this man up. I wish I could have found those pictures, but I don't have those pictures of him being beat to a bloody pulp. But I mean, goodness gracious, it was a hot, hot, hot mess, and I can't wait to see the next episode, because now it appears that Claudia is back. She didn't get to go travel the world, because I'm pretty sure she was concerned about Louis at this point, because Louis's body has to regenerate and get back to where it needs to be. So it's going to be interesting to see, the dynamics between Louis, Lestat, and Claudia, and what's going to happen between them. Because Louis does love Lestat, but he loves Claudia more. That's his daughter. So I just I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen. And how does a vampire die? I mean, I know what I've seen in different Twilight and all that stuff, but how would they actually, because when Louis talking to the author about, when he's writing the book, you could tell that Louis is not there, Claudia is not there. So where are they? He did allude that Claudia was out, doing some, different, doing some stuff, innovative type things in the world. So she's probably out there doing it, doing her thing. But it's, a lot of things could happen, to Louis for putting out this book. And they even Rashid, his assistant, even said, Louis is running is doing something that is very, like, is going to put him in jeopardy of being killed by other vampires. Because once the book comes out and then, vampires get their hands on it, they said they could, even though he's in this tower in Dubai, he said them vampires are going to start scaling the walls coming after him. So it's just like Louis is putting his life in a lot of jeopardy to put this book out. But he just wants to share his story. So it's going to be interesting how all of this is going to go down. And it'd be also interesting to see, where Claudia is now. Like, what is she doing? And, has she found love? Has she found what she's been searching for? So it'll be interesting. And where is Lestat at this point? Like, is Lestat dead? Like, what's going on? Because, Bruce, the one that beat up Claudia and, kind of was mean to her, he said a European guy changed him. So I was wondering, I was like, did Lestat change this guy? I don't know, but it appears that, a lot of the vampires are in Europe. So then there's that. And Lestat is is from Europe, and he's quite vicious. Lestat does not play. I wouldn't play. I wouldn't get on Lestat's bad side, honestly. So again, I am enjoying this series. I'm enjoying this season. Hopefully, it'll get more seasons. I don't know if this is like a limited series, but I'm enjoying it so far. What about you all? Are you all enjoying it? I would highly recommend anyone to watch it, especially if you like things like this, and especially if you like stuff like vampires and gory stuff. This is all in my wheelhouse, y'all. I love it. So I would rate episode 4, where when we kind of got Claudia'S backstory. I would probably make it maybe about a 7. But this particular episode, I would give it about 8, 8.5. So I really enjoyed this episode 5, and I would definitely take time to watch this show. It is very good. You just never know where it's gonna go. So yeah, if you're into stuff like this, I highly recommend. And this is my review, y'all. Anything else? You should start getting Married at First Sight comes on tonight. So this will be the reunion. That will probably be one of my last recaps of Married at First Sight. Until the next one, I believe they are going to Dallas. So yeah, until the next time with Married at First Sight, you should see one more from me on that. And then we also are finishing out Married to Medicine. And I need to get my Love is Blind stuff together, because I have did Love is Blind. God, what was it? I think 4 through 7 or 4 to 6, one of those. So I need to recap those, because I definitely have some thoughts about Love is Blind. But that's all I got, y'all. I ain't got no more. So I'll see y'all when I see y'all. Peace.